Okay, well, you wouldn't think there'd be really anything to talk about from a football game that was 3-0, but there's a lot to talk about. It was funny. I mean, you know, it I don't know what point it passed into being just a humorous football game, but win or lose, it was going to go down as one of the funniest games I've ever seen. Um, and it was disgusting. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It was for most way, it was a disgusting game. Um, you'd never in a million years think that both the teams, were just coming off of a bye. And all this talk during the week, and I bought into it because sometimes I just like you want to buy into it. The stuff from O'Connell and Dobbs and Wes Phillips pre DWI about they're really going over the offense and really breaking it down, and they're gonna cater more to the individual skill sets of players. Well, we saw none of that. It was the same. It was the same garbage game plan for Dobbs that we saw in the last couple games, where there was nothing to get him out using mobility. There were a couple of plays where he kind of, I think there was like a couple of play actions, and then there were a couple of plays where he, it probably wasn't a designed run, but he ran. I mean, there were a couple of plays, and just to be fair to Dobbs, there were some drop passes that should have been caught in this game. There was that one potentially big play to Hawkinson that would have had him in the red zone, gets dropped. I mean, like, these passes weren't perfect, but you really got to bail out your quarterback once in a while. But I completely agreed with pulling Dobbs out of the game, because you had to do something, because there were plays that didn't work for Dobbs, drops and stuff. But Dobbs was also very bad. Like, there were throws that were just terrible. He took a couple of sacks that he absolutely should not have taken. Just very, very poor game from him. Would not surprise me if we'd never see Josh Dobbs take another snap for the Vikings again. Because after the game, KOC was non-committal. They got to play in 6 days now in Cincinnati. And he was non-committal about the quarterback position, but I mean, it's going to be Nick Mullins. I would be absolutely shocked beyond belief if it's anyone else. I don't think it's going to be Jaron Hall. So many Vikings fans calling for Jaron Hall during the game. He was the third quarterback. You couldn't put him in unless the two guys in front of him got hurt. So Jaron Hall was never going to play in this game. But yeah, I think it's just over for Dobbs. And I'll stand by that it was a good trade when they made it, because I mean, they basically got him for free, and he helped you to a couple of wins that you needed. Now, you could also say he helped you to a couple losses, but I don't know that you could have done better than 2-2 in those games anyway. And now you're 3-2 since Kirk went down. We'll never know. It's like an unprovable thing. People say, "Oh, Jaron Hall would have won all 5 games." Well, we have absolutely no idea. But it's over for him. I don't think he'll be I don't think he'll be starting again this year. I don't think he'll be back with the team next year. I think they'll just hit free agency, and he'll sign on somewhere. He's an okay guy to have as a backup quarterback. And I still think if you design game plan around what he can do, I think he can do better than what we've seen. But it was obvious, and I'm getting pissed off at KOC because he's not changing things up to help Dobbs, and he didn't this week. He didn't do anything to help Dobbs out. Maybe you can say, well, it's just because Dobbs is ass. By the way, stop calling things ass. Come up with some new terminology. So like, Dobbs is ass. The Vikings are ass. Like, we know you can't think of things yourself, so just move on. But it's too bad. It's too bad, because we really liked the Dobbs story and hoped that could have lasted into the playoffs, and maybe even have him back here next year as either a bridge guy or as the starter. But I don't think any of that's going to happen. I think he'll be out of here. I think it'll be Mullins in Cincinnati. I think it'll probably be Mullins unless they're eliminated. And all the people calling for Jared Hall or Jaron Hall, um, he's not going to play. He's not going to start anyway. He's not going to start unless they're out of it. And I don't think, and I think now that they won this game and some of these other teams lost today, um, I don't think there's any chance the Vikings are eliminated probably until maybe the last week of the season. It's really going to be, it's probably going to be going to the bitter end here. Um, but yeah, it was a disgusting game. I mean, everybody who saw it, the poor saps who sat through it and saw it, you know, it was terrible. I mean, and then Mullins comes in, and Mullins wasn't great. His first pass was a big play to Hawkinson, but that was almost picked off. And he had a couple other throws that were pretty bad. But he moved the ball a little bit. He threw downfield a little bit. He threw with some decisiveness, and that's what you need. And he threw a couple good touch passes. That one, there was a third down to KJ. Um, I can't remember if that was on the winning drive or not, but you know, just like little touch throws, like he can do. It's the very basic, you know, competent pocket passing quarterback things that Dobbs can't do. Um, you're not going to get much mobility from Mullins, but you know, I think at this point, again, it's not even a trade-off because KOC wasn't calling a game plan that allowed for Dobbs to do that anyway. So there was no point in having Dobbs out there if you're going to do that. So, I'm not over the moon that Nick Mullins is going to be the starting quarterback going the rest of the way to try to get us into the playoffs. But you know what? I think he's the safest option. Um, and he did okay when he got in there in this game. Um, but and obviously there wasn't much to talk about on offense. This was the return of Justin Jefferson, and he got hurt again. And I would have taken you could have taken Dobbs out of the game right then and there when he threw that horrible high pass that Jefferson did catch, but then he got drilled in the ribs. He had to go to the fucking hospital for that. Like that happened because your quarterback was threw a horribly inaccurate pass that he still went up and got. Um, and he missed the rest of the game. What did he end up with? Like 2-3 catches, and who knows what this injury is going to entail now. This might be his season. I mean, it's possible. I mean, now that you've got one less day to get ready for the next game. I mean, we saw so many guys go down to injury in this game. It was ridiculous. We don't know who's going to be out there. We lost Madison to an ankle injury. We lost Brian O'Neill. I guess he had a walking boot on. After the game, like he probably can't count on him. Ed Ingram missed this game today. Reisner got hurt for a while. I think he got back in the game, but he was out for a while. Jalen Naylor got a concussion, I think, on that one play that was a helmet-to-helmet hit that they didn't call. And Brandon Powell, I think, got hurt at one point, or at least he had to come out. I don't know if he was like hurt, but the injuries they won't stop. And who knows what you're even going to have out there. Now in 6 days you got to go into Cincinnati and play a Bengals team that's won a couple games now against good teams. Even with Jake Browning in there, and you're going to have some sort of offense in these games going forward. I mean, you absolutely had to win at least one of these two road games. So you've at least got that. Hopefully you can go into Cincinnati and win. I don't think it's impossible. Obviously, you're not going to be able to win scoring 3 points, but of course, should have been 6 points. But Greg Joseph missed the other kick. I mean, he hit the one at the end, but I'm ready. I'm so ready to move on from him. But I mean, the defense was incredible, and you can't just be like, oh, they just were playing Aiden O'Connell and the Raiders. You pitch a shutout on someone in their stadium. That's impressive. And this was a very, very good defensive game. I think they had barely 200 yards offense. They hit the one big play. There was like that one big pass play in this, I think, the third quarter, and that got them down in the red zone. And you're thinking, this is the ball game right here, because one score is probably going to win the game. If they go up 7-0, you're finished. But I think it was Metellus knocked the ball out. We got the ball back. Ivan Pace Jr., even before the interception to end the game, had a fantastic game. they tackled well. They pressured the quarterback pretty well. Um, they stopped the run. They've been pretty good against the run all year. Like they've done this against higher quality opponents than the Raiders. Maybe not shutouts, but this defense is legit. I mean, they should have had wins the last 2 games, but they had, last drive of the game, they gave it up, and that's kind of tainted their overall performance. But this defense has been one of the best in football for a good chunk of time now. So this is no fluke. And that's going to be what can still get you into the playoffs. Because, I mean, you're not going to light up the scoreboard with Nick Mullins, but, this defense keeps playing the way they're playing, and, maybe you still get some guys back. Maybe you still get a Marcus Davenport back. Maybe Jordan Hicks comes back. I mean, you still have a chance to really, have the defense carry you into the playoffs. And no one likes a defense. I mean, like, from entertainment perspective, nobody gets into the a 3-0 game as entertaining. I mean, I found this game like perversely entertaining because it was kind of just so bizarre to have a game be scoreless for as long as it was. I mean, it never happened in history of the Raiders. Vikings hadn't had one go scoreless that long, in decades, and it was like what was it? When I see like the 8th game in the history of the NFL that finished 3-0. I mean, this doesn't happen. Even in a season, like overall NFL season, that's been pretty down as far as offense. But I'll take an ugly win. Like, if we can get 4 more ugly wins, get in the playoffs, and then have ugly wins in the playoffs, like, I'll take it every day. But yeah, I mean, these injuries have to stop, though. I mean, we've already gone so far past this. Whatever, like, the most injured Viking season has ever been. This has topped it already. I mean, I think I saw the only guy who hasn't missed time of the starting offense is Addison. I mean, it just doesn't stop. And they're all different kinds of injuries. It's not like one thing is happening. It's just a whole bunch of different things, and it's got to stop. I mean, there's almost nobody left. I mean, I didn't even know. Like, I think I said on the broadcast, because Ingram was out, and then Brando was starting for him, and then we lose Brian O'Neill, and then we lose Reisner, and I think it was Quesenberry and Schlottman are in there. I literally don't know if we had any more linemen left. It's just, you want this to stop already. I mean, I know a lot of the other teams deal with injuries, and it's been a big season for quarterback injuries. I think Justin Herbert got knocked out of the game today for them. It just doesn't stop. But man, it's we've lost everybody. I don't know who's left. We haven't lost too many guys on defense for significant stretches, but what we gotta there's nothing you can do. It's like it's gonna happen. But so I come away from this game with positivity, because they did finally make the QB switch. Probably made it about 4 or 5 quarters too late. You probably beat the Bears if you switch over to Nick Mullins. But that's it's been done. What can you do? And I think he'll be able to just run, like you saw it in the game. Like he's not flashy, he's not great, but he can run just like a professional kind of offense. And Dobbs, like, it is what it is with Dobbs, man. I think, like, fun 2 weeks with Dobbs, but for whatever reason, whether it's just all game planning or just Dobbs, or just a combination of both. I mean, there were a lot of game plays even in this game where, like, you could tell he's not getting the ball out fast enough. He's not being decisive about what he wants. There were a couple of plays where he could have run and maybe made some plays, and he was indecisive about it, and he gets tackled, or he ends up throwing the ball incomplete or something. And you just can't have that. I mean, he didn't turn the ball over. That was nice. I mean, literally his first pass of the game was almost pick six. But other than that, I mean, he didn't turn the ball over, so that's at least a positive. But yeah, I would be shocked if we see Josh Dobbs taking another snap for the Vikings ever. It's just done. And Mullins, again, he'll give you the best shot to win at least. You got to at least win probably 2 more of these games, the regular season. And one of those has got to be the Green Bay game. If you win 3 of the final 4, you're for sure in. If you win 2, then it gets a little dicey, but I still think you have a shot. And if this defense keeps playing the way they're playing, I mean, like they've shut down some better offenses than the Raiders for sure. But hey, at least we're still in it, and we're guaranteed to finish the week still in a playoff spot. And I think we might be guaranteed to even be in a playoff spot next week with the way some of these other games finished out. Because worst we can be a 7-7, and I still think we have tiebreakers even if we're 7-7. So again, not much to talk about. This is much shorter than normal. It was an ugly game, but it was memorably ugly. I mean, you're not going to see another. I mean, we didn't see a 3-0 game for as far as the Vikings in my lifetime. It's been over 50 years, so probably never going to see one like this again. And we hope we're not going to see this one like this again, because this was very, very ugly football. But you got out of there with a win. If you had won the ugly game against the Bears 2 weeks ago, things would be looking a lot better for the overall season. Always take the ugly wins if you can get them. And this was pushing it. 3-0 is about as ugly as it gets, but we got the win. And as the hoodie man once said, we're on to Cincinnati.